Good morning. Now we are going to see about Babcock and Wilcox boiler. In the previous videos, we have discussed about the classification of boilers, and we have seen the Lancashire boiler, which is a fire tube boiler. And this boiler, Babcock and Wilcox boiler, is a water tube boiler. So here, let me see what is a water tube boiler and how it is going to be function. Okay, right. So in this, the Babcock and Wilcox boiler is a horizontal drum axis. Okay, and it is a natural draft, natural circulation. Already we said the fluid flow, how it is taken place for when the water is fluid, when flow in naturally manner because of the hot and cold density difference of the hot and cold fluid. So that we call it as a natural circulation. If it is if you use a pump or motor, then it will be a forced circulation, but in this case it is a natural circulated boiler. And it is a multi-tubular boiler where more tubes are there where the water we are passing the water. And it is a stationary boiler. So there are so many classification we have seen. One is a stationary or locomotive types. Here it is a stationary types, horizontal drum, and it is a natural draft. And the fire what we are going to fire here is a externally fired boiler, because we are firing the coal externally, and only we are sending the hot flue gases inside the boiler, right? So let me see the structure and the working principle of the water tube boiler. Here you can see the boilers where the water is passing through the tubes. So we call it as water tube boilers, where cold water will pass through the tubes and it gets a heat from the surroundings, that are hot flue gases which is surrounded the water pipes. So hot flue gases, it passes through the drum. So this water gets the heat and it becomes a steam. The steam is then it gets to the turbine blades for the further production of power, electrical power, where the turbine is going to be rotated, right? Now let me see the construction of this boiler, horizontal drum boiler, which is a water tube boiler. You can see the water is filled in the half amount of boiler over here, and there are two important pipelines, which is that downtake header and uptake headers are there. So the downtake header and uptake headers will be useful for the steam generation. So where the water is getting passes through the upstack downtake header, and then the hot flue gases, it takes the hot flue gases and becomes steam. Then it moves to the uptake header, which is in the left side. So we can see the water tubes are located in an inclined manner. So the hot water normally, when the density is getting lighter, when water is getting heated up, the hot water becomes less dense and it moves upward, so that the inclined the pipelines you can see here in the left side of this uptake header is there, through which the hot water enter into the boiler drum. So the hot water, the hot steam we can see is when reaches to the top uptake header, it becomes a hot steam. That steam is getting stored in the top level of the boiler. Then the boiler, from the boiler, the steam is getting segregated and separated. The steam, we bring it to the turbine blades, right? So there are another as in the case of Lancashire boiler, here also we are going to see so many accessories and mountings are there, just like steam stop valve, safety valves, and manholes. These are all the basic things, and the water level indicator, pressure safety valves are useful for making the efficiency as well as the safety for the boiler. And the baffle plates at the bottom of this furnace, near to the furnace, we can see the flow of hot flue gases. It regulates the flow of hot flue gases and zigzag manner, so that the hot flue gases surrounds the tubes very slowly, so that it provides more heat and it spends more time on the blades. So here in this case we can see the flow of hot flue gases, how it is going from the furnace, and the zigzag movement through the baffle plates it spends more time on this blades and the tubes, so that the hot water becomes very heat get the heat and becomes steam. then it is getting separated in the boiler drum at the top as a steam. That steam, you can see the water level indicator at the left and the fusible plug, and that is that's what here it is feed valve where water is getting fitted up, and there is another steam, main steam valves. Everything is present at the top of the boiler to takes the steam upward and it sends to the turbine blades. So the main content, main parts of these water tube boilers are: one is drum and a downtake header and uptake header. The drum consists of water, and the downtake header, which is used for the connecting at the rear end of the boiler, it receives the water from the drum for the heating. Then it gets heated up. The uptake header, through the uptake header, the steam generated, which is generated in the water tubes, it will move upward to those drums, right? And there are water tubes over there for filling up the water inside the drum, and baffle plates, fire doors over there, and a grate is there for burning the fuel. So their hot flue gases are getting produced by burning the fuel on the grates. So this will help for the there is a mud collector will collect this at the end of the bottom of the downtake header. Through that we can remove the muds, and feed check valves are used to fill the water in the drums. So here another important thing is the downtake header. So the water starts from the water tube drums and it enters to the downtake header, where the inclined tubes over there. So when it gets heated up, because of the density difference, as I said, it moves upward when it converted into steam. Okay, when it converted into steam, because of the density difference, it moves upward, and it increases. The superheater is there, which is used to improve the heat of the temperature of the steam. So that increases the temperature of the steam and it sends to the turbine blades, so that the turbine is going to be utilized for the power generation in the steam power plants. So here the main application of this Babcock Wilcox is, which is used for high pressure steam can be produced in the power generation industries. So the advantages is there, and the disadvantages are more because of it is sedimentary water. When pipelines, when water passes through the pipelines, so impurities presence may affect, may produce the scales in the tubes, so that the flow of tubes, the flow of water in the tubes is going to be affected, and that is a very big disadvantage here. So we need frequent maintenance and cleaning of the water. The water treatment is required here, and the continuous supply of feed water is required for working, because more heat is getting produced, so the supply of water should be continuous, otherwise it's getting overheated. So this is the disadvantages over here. And the fire tube and water tube difference also there. So fire tube is a Lancashire. We have seen the Lancashire boiler where the fire is passed through the tubes and water is circulated around it. But in water tubes, the water is passing through the tubes, and the hot flue gases surrounds in that water tubes. And operation pressure of the fire tube is limited, but here water tube boiler, the pressure limitation is no issues. Around more than the 25 bar it can be worked out. And the floor space requirement for fire tube boiler is more, but the water tube boilers requirement of floor space is less, and cost is very less in case of fire tube boiler, and water tube boiler cost is more and maintenance is more, and it is suitable for large power plant. The water tubes are useful for large power plant, but it requires more skilled laborers and careful attention for maintaining these boilers. So it will be useful for producing steam for power generation as well as process heating. The water tube boilers are there. There is a scale deposition. If you take the disadvantages, there is a scale formation in the tubes is possible, which will reduce the temperature efficiency, and as well as the overheating is possible. But in this case of fire tube boilers, that is not a matter. There is no problem of scale deposition, because of water is full in the drum and only hot flue gases pass through the tubes. So this is the advantages and disadvantages of the fire tube and water tube boilers. So in this video we have seen the water tube boilers, how its function. So in the next video we will see about the boilers and other important parameters about the boilers and the thermodynamics videos, right?